And let's continue our study of the two native Buckeye trees found in the lower Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Appalachian regions. I did a segment a couple weeks ago, back in late March, on the bark of the yellow Buckeye and the Ohio Buckeye, and I showed that they were starting to get their early spring leaves. As you can see, this is a few weeks later, and still these are really the only trees that have a lot of leaves in this oak hickory forest here. The chinkapin oaks and the red oaks and these pignut hickories are just starting to open up. They're waiting for some warmer weather. But our Buckeyes are in full leaf out now. Let's take a look at some right here, and I'm going to attach this clip to a clip I made yesterday showing the flowers of these trees and details of the leaves. So this is a continuation of the clips I called Ohio Buckeye Bark and Early Spring Appearance and Yellow Buckeye Bark and Early Spring Appearance. You can refer to those videos if you want to see what the bark of these trees looks like in great detail. But these Buckeye trees both have what's called a palmately compound leaf. That is where the leaflets come out of one central growing point, just like the fingers on your hand come out of your palm. So that's called palmately compound. And most compound leaves are not palmately compound, but are what we call pinnately compound or bipinnately compound. We'll get back to that. I'm going to do some work with the locusts and Kentucky coffee tree in a few weeks here once they leaf out. But what we've got here is a palmately compound leaf that's way ahead of its competitors here, trying to get some sun. And this is mostly an understory plant in this forest, these Ohio Buckeye trees here. We're going to attach this clip to a clip I made yesterday where I had both species in bloom, the yellow and the Ohio Buckeye in bloom, in a location where the two species ranges overlap. So we will stay tuned for that in just a second. I have found a yellow Buckeye that's almost in full bloom. I'm going to take the opportunity to film this because my next day off is in a week and I may not have a chance to get to where there's yellow Buckeye next week. So let's go ahead and take a look at a really large flower of this yellow Buckeye. This is about 6 inches long. And what you can see if you look closely there is the petals are kind of a ivory color, almost flesh colored in places. And what you don't see on this is a real fuzzy appearance that I'm going to show you when we get to the Ohio Buckeye. It's also in bloom right now too, right up the trail here. So we've got a great chance to learn what the leaves and the flowers of these two native Buckeye trees look like. And here we are, and it's just a real pretty flower. I don't see any bees out today. It's trying to rain lightly. Maybe they're going to wait till the sun comes back out, but the pollinators can reach down there if they're a long-tongued bee, is what I've been reading. So it's a pretty, about a half-inch long flower with the goods at the bottom. The Ohio Buckeye is going to have a much fuzzier appearance because the stamens stick out much further than the flower itself, and you'll see that in just a moment. And today we've hit the botanical jackpot. I've got both species of Buckeye in bloom today in mid-April here at the Darrell Carnes Interpretive Trails, part of the Hanover College campus here in Jefferson County, Indiana. And I just did the yellow Buckeye. And here's the Ohio Buckeye with these strange orange-tipped stamens sticking out well beyond the flower. So that's how we can tell the flowers apart on these two trees. It's a much fuzzier appearance. These stamens have that orange tip, and there's hundreds of them on this one flower. It's about the same size flower as the yellow Buckeye, but a much different appearance. So they're both in bloom here today. This is the second week of April. And just for a botanical reference, this is the same week that the larkspur is in full bloom. So we can use as a reference. When the larkspur is in full bloom, we can expect to find the flowers on both the yellow and the Ohio Buckeye in bloom. I'm going to go down the trail here. I've got some leaves from these trees. In general, the leaves on the yellow Buckeye are quite a bit larger than the Ohio Buckeye on average. On the left of this tree stump here is a extra large yellow Buckeye leaf, probably from the tip of the stem to the tip of the longest leaflet, at least 14 inches. And to the right of the stump is an Ohio Buckeye here. And this is an average size leaflet, not extra large. And it is maybe 8 or 10 inches. So in general, they're larger. I've got a medium-sized yellow buckeye here as well from a tree that was getting a little less sun. But even it is probably 10 to 12 inches long. And if you look at the stem, or they call this the petiole, I believe, it's longer than the actual 5 leaflets in length. And on the Ohio Buckeye, it's almost the same length, but not usually longer. So it's a subtle difference. Sometimes the Ohio Buckeye can give you an extra bonus, and you get 7 leaflets. I've seen it several times in the last few weeks. So this one on the bottom right side has 7 leaflets. And again, it was getting some sun where I found it, so it decided it would try extra hard to make some food while it's getting full sun. And that's the difference between the leaves and the flowers of our native Buckeye trees in the mid-Ohio Valley here. The ranges do overlap here, but not by much. It's uncommon to find both on the same trail.